Good morning, students. Till now we discussed about how to write a program in any one of the description style, such as structural description style, data flow description style, and behavioral description style. So what is the next step then? So after developing a program in VHDL, so what is our next step? So obviously the next thing we are supposed to do is to verify the functionality of whatever program we've written in VHDL. So that is what the next task after developing a program in VHDL. So that operation, verifying the functionality of that particular program, will be done by means of using this particular simulation. Anyway, outside so majority vendors such as Xilinx, Mentor Graphics, all these companies, they developed simulator tools to perform that particular task. That simulator is going to verify the functionality of the given program. By means of that, we came to know whether whatever we written program, that one is executing properly or not. That program is working properly or not, we can able to identify from that. So in this regard, so we are going to look at, so by means of applying simulation, how we are going to verify the functionality, that we are going to discuss in detail. And in general, before simulation, so initially it needs to perform the compilation. So in some of the tools, simulation itself, it also consists of that compiler as inbuilt. So in that regard, while coming for simulation itself, it also covers that particular compilation. In compilation, what it will do is, it is going to verify the syntax errors. Whatever program we've written in VHDL, so within that, is there any syntax errors or not? That will be verified by means of that particular compiler. So once we don't have any syntax errors, then obviously next we are supposed to verify the functionality by means of using the simulator tool. So in simulation, first step, so what it will do is, in general, simulator begins operation at simulation time of 0 itself. So once if we start the simulation process at 0 time itself, simulator starts processing that particular program. So the first step what it will do is, so it is going to initialize the default values for all the signals. So whatever signals that we considered in that particular program, so for all those signals, the default initial value it will be assigned. And one more point here is, so if you explicitly mention any particular value for any signal, so those values will be assigned to that particular one. And whatever we didn't mention any value for those signals, default values it is going to assign. So that is the first task, immediately starting of the simulation, at 0 simulation time itself. So this is what it is going to perform. That is, explicitly if we assign any value for the signals, then those values will be assigned to that particular signal. And in addition to that, so for whatever signals we didn't assign any values, for those signals default values. So in majority cases that default may be a 0. That default value will be assigned to, so other than signals whatever we mentioned. This is the first task it is going to perform. Then after that, so it is going to execute the concurrent statement, because as you all know that, so within the architecture body, it consists of multiple concurrent statements. Anyway, 3 description styles we have. Anyone you can able to consider. In majority cases, because of the simplicity, we can able to consider the behavioral description style. Because in behavioral description style, just we are going to mention the behavior of that particular circuit without mention in detail about the internal structure. So in that regard, majority cases, we are going to write a program in behavioral description style. So here also, suppose if I consider that particular one, so where it consists of concurrent statement. In that particular behavioral, the concurrent statement is process itself. So where it consists of multiple process statements. That depends on the application. So here for this particular one, I am considering where that particular behavioral description style consists of multiple process statements. So all those are all going to start executing after the initialization of default values to the signals. So that is what going to happen First it is going to initialize the default values, then after that what are all the concurrent statements, in general process statements that we have, it starts executing that particular process statement. Okay, then so within that particular, while executing that particular process statement, which process statement is going to execute first? In theoretical manner, till now we studied about, so all these process statements, because of all these are all concurrent, all are going to run at a time. So but in reality, so it is not possible. So that is because of, so which process is going to execute first means based upon the sensitivity list. So as we described previously, process consists of sensitivity list. Without sensitivity list also we can able to describe a process. So what is the difference between those two? So a process having the sensitivity list means initially it is not going to run. So if there is change in the value of that particular sensitivity list signals is occurred, at that time only that particular process is going to execute. Okay. So if the process don't have any sensitivity list means at zero simulation time itself it is going to execute only once. So that is the difference between those two. But anyway, here if you consider a process, so in majority cases in behavioral, so majority cases we are going to write by means of sensitivity list only. So which process is going to execute first means, so by which value, which signal value in the sensitivity list is going to vary, that process is going to execute first. Then after executing of that particular process, so within that particular process obviously it consists of multiple sequential statements. Once all those sequential statements are executed, then that process will be closed, and so control comes to the next process, where that particular sensitivity list values are varied. So control goes to that particular process and starts executing that particular one. Like that all processes it needs to complete first. Okay. So by means of completing all those process statement, we can able to say, so one simulation cycle is completed. Okay. So that's what it completes, one simulation cycle. If it go on all the process statements once, then we can able to say that one simulation cycle is completed. Then after that, so after completion of execution of all the process once, so next what happens, as we described previously, while those sequential statements within the process are executing, so by means of them, if there is any changes in the values of the sensitivity list signals is occurred, then once again that particular process is going to execute. Okay, so actually that must happen immediately, but it is going to take certain time after a delay of delta delay. Okay, so that is while that particular process is executing the sequential statement, by means of those statements, is there any change occurred in the signals whatever we represent in sensitivity list, then once again that particular process needs to run. Okay, so that must be executed immediately, but it is going to consider a minimum time, so which is we can able to call that particular delay as delta delay. So because of that, so it is supposed, it actually scheduled to occur, whatever so sensitivity list varies means once again it needs to execute. That one is going to occur at the current simulation time plus one delta delay. Okay, so that is what after a delta delay. So next time once again the process is going to execute. Okay, now we will discuss what is delta delay. So delta delay is infinitesimally small. Okay, delta delay is an infinitesimally short time. Okay, it's that time duration is very small, such as that the current simulation time plus any number of delta delays still equals to current simulation time itself. Such a small time delay that particular delta delay is. Okay, so that is what. So because of that, even though multiple times that particular signal values in the sensitivity list varies, so after each delta delay, once again it is going to execute that particular process anyway by means of combining current simulation plus so that many number of delta delays also equals to current simulation time itself, because that particular delta delay is infinitesimally short time. So for that reason, so large number of delta delays plus current simulation time is going to result current simulation time itself. So because of that only, even though the process individually it is going to execute that particular simulation, all are going to happen within zero simulation time itself. In that regard, we can able to say all these processes are going to execute concurrently, but in real, so that is not going to happen. So one after another process is going to execute based upon the sensitivity signal variation. But all those within sequential statement, if you mention any loops, whatever it may be, all those processes are going to execute. So within that particular zero simulation time itself, because even though it took delta delay, that delta delay is very very small. So in that regard, we can able to, so it will pretend like that particular VHDL tool is going to, so pretend like, so all are going to execute it at a time, but in general that is not going to happen. Okay, you are supposed to remember that particular one, delta delay. So even though if you add in multiple delta delays, the simulation time is not going to vary. So that is what regarding that particular delta delay, and how, that is how the program is going to execute, simulate by means of using the simulator tools. Okay, so that is what regarding that particular one. And next very very important thing is test bench. Okay, so test benches, so which is very very important. So what is the use of this particular test benches is, test benches specifies a sequence of inputs. Okay, test bench specifies a sequence of inputs. So all those inputs, so we are supposed to apply on that particular HDL based design by means of using this particular simulator. Let it be, suppose if I consider 2 input AND gate. So what all that particular sequence of inputs means, so all the in truth table whatever input combinations that we have, all those comes under this particular sequence of inputs. While coming for 2 input AND gate, so 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1, these are all the 4 input combinations. So we can able to apply to verify the functionality of that particular 2 input AND gate. So that's what here we are going to perform. By means of using test bench, we are going to specify a sequence of inputs. Okay, so those inputs we are supposed to apply on that particular HDL based design, whatever program we developed, on that particular program we are going to apply those specific sequence of inputs by means of using this particular simulator tool. Okay, so that mentioning that particular sequence of inputs itself, we can able to consider it as test bench. Okay, then so whatever the program that we considered, and on that only we are going to apply that particular test bench, and that program we can able to consider it as unit under test. Okay, so that is what regarding that particular one. Whatever VHDL program that we considered to verify its functionality by means of applying the test bench, that program HDL based design itself nothing but entity. Okay, that entity itself you can able to consider it as unit under test. Okay, so then we will verify with one program how. So next we need to know how to write a test bench program. Okay, so this is how it seems to be. Here I considered one example. So we already studied about the inhibit gate functionality. So while coming for that inhibit gate, we can also call it as but not. Okay, so this is how it seems to be. So one input must be 2 input AND gate. In that particular one of the input must be tied to inverter. So coming to that, suppose if I mention such as like this is what the inhibit gate we considered previously, initially. Okay, so once again I considered the same inhibit gate, and here so I am mentioning the test bench. By means of test bench, we are going to specify the sequence of inputs, whatever we are supposed to apply to verify that particular functionality, those sequence of inputs, so we can able to develop within that particular test bench. Okay, So because of that, here once again I considered that particular inhibit gate. So this is how it seems to be X, while you are applying Y. So that must be applied as input for AND gate through inverter, then Z is the output. Okay. So now I considered that particular inhibit gate. For that we are supposed to develop a test bench, and this is how that particular test bench seems to be. So if you look at this particular test bench, so same as ordinary program, test bench also consists of entity declaration and architecture definition. So these two parts it consists of. So first if you look at the entity declaration part. So entity declaration starts with a keyword entity, then entity name. As a general practice, for whatever program, okay, for whatever module, for whatever entity we are developing the test bench. So in addition to that particular name, simply we are going to add test bench. Okay. So this is the common practice that we are following while we are developing the test bench. By means of that, easily we came to know that this test bench belongs to that particular inhibit entity. So because of that, so after mentioning that particular entity name, so by default we are going to describe test bench as a general practice. Then entity name is, then in ordinary entity we are going to describe the inputs and outputs, but while we are developing the test bench there is no need to mention inputs and outputs of that particular entity. That is because of anyway inputs we are driving within the architecture body, and while coming for outputs, anyway finally this output response we are going to consider in the waveforms. Okay, simulator waveforms, it consists of separate window. In that particular simulator waveforms, we can able to verify the outputs of this particular module, which is inhibit gate module. So in that regard, there is no need to mention inputs and outputs of that particular module. In this particular case, inhibit gate. So because of that, without mentioning any inputs and output signals, directly you can able to come to the last statement in entity declaration, that is and entity name. Okay, so why we didn't mention any inputs and output means inputs by default within this particular one we are going to drive the values for them, and while coming for outputs in simulator waveforms we are going to observe those outputs. So because of that, specifically there is no need to mention inputs and outputs in entity part while you are describing the test bench. So because of that, just entity name is and entity name. So same name must be appear over here in these two places. So with that, entity part is over. Next, while coming for architecture definition. Okay, so starts with a keyword architecture, then architecture name. Okay, as a common practice, inhibit test bench underscore arc of entity name. Entity name must match with this particular one. Then only it came to know this architecture belongs to that particular test bench. Okay, so this name so must be appear over here. Then is. So after that, so whatever component, for whatever component, so we are applying sequence of inputs. So before going to that particular architecture body, so we must mention them as component declarations. Okay, so for whatever module, so in this particular case inhibit gate, for whatever module we are driving the inputs. Okay, so before driving those inputs, before starting of the architecture body, we are supposed to declare that particular component. So because of that, here we consider the component declaration immediately after starting the architecture. So component name. In this particular case, we are developing test bench for the inhibit gate. So that is how. So because of that, inhibit port. So in general, so this is what we developed a program over there. According to that, directly input and outputs I considered from that. So X, Y are the inputs where the type is bit, Z is output where the type is bit, and end component. Okay. So this is what the component declaration. So whatever we are generating sequence of inputs for whatever module, that module must be okay, declared as a component before starting of the architecture body. So in that regard, we consider it. Okay, component declaration of inhibit gate was done over there. And next to that, so signal declaration must be done, because so that is the initially I developed a program for inhibit. There I considered X, Y are the inputs, Z is the output. Let it be in my test bench circuit. So instead of those, so we need to consider the other signal names. These are all local to this. Because of that, here I mentioned those names as XT, YT and ZT. That is nothing but so this comes under XT, and this one belongs to YT, and this one belongs to ZT. Okay. So these are all the temporary variables I considered within this particular one, signals. Okay. So because of that, by means of using these signals only, I am going to describe the input sequence. That is the original module, and their names are X, Y and Z. But while I am assigning values for them, so instead of considering those original, we are supposed to consider the temporary signals. So because of that, here I must declare that particular one in signal declaration part. So signal, those signals names as X is nothing but XT, here I considered. Then Y equals to YT, I assumed it as. Then Z, so I consider it as ZT. And bit, same type, like this one. Then after that, we are supposed to start the architecture body with the keyword begin. Then immediately after begin, the first step what we are supposed to do is, so whatever component so we are developing the input sequence, that component must be instantiated, okay, within that particular architecture body by means of using the component statement. Okay, in structural we already discussed how that particular component statement seems to be. Starts with the label, colon, component name. Here inhibit gate that we are using. Then we are supposed to map those signals with the original signals. So in that regard, so we considered XT, YT and ZT. So because of we are using these signals, so at present as a temporary, we are supposed to mention them as signal declaration part before starting of the architecture body. So by means of that, first I instantiated that particular component by means of using the component statement. Then after that, we are supposed to start the process. Okay. So process is a concurrent statement where it consists of multiple sequential statements. So because of that, all those sequence of inputs we can able to describe within that particular sequential statements. Okay. So coming to that, so here we mentioned the process. It don't have any sensitivity list. So obviously it is going to execute only once, and it starts executing at 0 simulation time itself. If I mention any sensitivity list, then when it is going to execute, if there is any change in the value of that particular sensitivity list signals, at that time only it starts execution. But if you didn't mention any sensitivity list means, then obviously it starts executing at 0 simulation time itself, that too only once. Okay. So here also by means of applying this particular input signals, it needs to execute only once. In that regard, I considered only process without any sensitivity list. Then after that, for process also body starts with begin. Then here what we are supposed to mention is sequential statements. By means of those sequential statements, sequence of inputs we need to apply for that particular inhibit gate. So here temporary we consider it as XT and YT are the inputs and ZT is the output. So because of that, here we are supposed to drive those inputs. Okay. So first initial I considered first combination is 0 0. So XT assigned value of 0 and YT assigned a value of 0. So because of XT and YT here we consider them as signals. While you are assigning values for signals, the assigning operator is less than or equals to. Remember that. For variables, colon equals to. So here these are all signals. Because of that, less than or equals to is the assigning operator. By means of that, initially first I assigned XT and YT as 0 0. Okay. Then after that, so here I mentioned wait for 10 nanoseconds, because after applying this particular one, so this needs to be executed by the program and it needs to develop output for that. Okay, so to perform that particular task, it is going to consider certain time. Okay, So because of that, immediately you should not start the next statement. Before that, so we are supposed to suspend the process for certain time period. By means of that, within that particular time, by means of applying these, it can able to generate the outputs. Those outputs we can able to observe in that particular waveform. For that reason only, here our intention is after applying the first sequence of inputs, so we need to suspend the process for certain amount of time. As we described in the last class, that we can able to achieve by means of using the wait statement. Okay, wait is going to suspend the process. Okay, so up to what time means if you mention any particular time over there, up to that particular time it is going to suspend that particular process. So here in this particular case, wait for 10 nanoseconds we mentioned. So because of that, after assigning these values to xt and yt, then that particular process is going to suspend for 10 nanoseconds. Within that particular time, so that particular program, by means of considering these inputs, it is going to generate output in the waveform. Okay, then after that, once again we are supposed to apply the second input combination, which is 0, 1. Then after that, so we need to suspend that particular process for a certain time duration. So because of that, once again wait for 10 nanoseconds. Then after that, the third sequence 1, 0. Then wait for 10 nanoseconds once again. Then after that, the final one is 1, 1. If you apply both inputs are 1, 1. Okay. So after that, there is no need to mention any pattern, other input sequence. So in that regard here, mention simply wait. Okay. Without mentioning any time, simply you mention wait means it will suspend the process indefinitely. Okay, that means here it will hold that particular program. Okay, that means so whatever waveforms it generated up to last one, so it is having this particular sequence output itself. Okay, first it is going to generate output for 0, 0 and that will be there up to 10 nanoseconds. Then after that 0, 1 and that will be hold for 10 nanoseconds. And next one is 1, 0, that output will be hold for 10 nanoseconds. And if you apply 1, 1, then that will be hold up to, so whatever simulation wherever we ends up to that particular one, so this one stays. Because of here we mentioned only wait without mentioning any time for that. So because of that, this suspend the process indefinitely. So these are all the comments because of the 2 hyphens. So if you place 2 hyphens means, then obviously next to that whatever you are going to write, that comes under the comments. So at the end of that particular line it is going to terminate. Okay. Then after that we are supposed to close this particular process. Here begin is there for process, that must be closed because of that end process. Then after that here one more begin is there, that is for the architecture, that also must be end with end architecture name. Okay. So this is what. So how to write a test bench, so for a given module. In this particular case we consider the inhibit gate. So that is how the circuit seems to be. For that, how we are going to apply the test bench. Okay. So like what I mentioned, entity declaration and architecture definition it consists of. But in entity declaration part, we are not supposed to mention inputs and outputs because inputs we are driving over here in the architecture body. While coming for outputs in simulation waveform, you can able to observe the outputs further. So in that regard, no need to mention inputs and outputs for that particular entity declaration part. And next to that, architecture we are supposed to start. And before going for architecture body, first of all, whatever component or whatever module we are developing the sequence of inputs for that particular module. So we must mention that component must be declared initially. So here inhibit was declared. Then after that, so these are all the signals what we wrote for that particular inhibit gate. So here some temporary signals we are going to consider. So that also must be described by means of signal declaration part. Because of that we considered those three. Then we are supposed to start the architecture body. In architecture body also the first statement must be that component must be instantiated using of component statement. So we instantiated that particular component. Then thereafter we are supposed to drive those inputs and we need to observe that particular output in the waveform, simulator waveform. And finally we are supposed to close each and every begin further two begins are there. So according to the two ends, so must be enclosed in that particular program. Okay. So this is how to write a test bench program further.